All right. First thing I want to talk to you about is something that I received from Spotify. And for those of you who are artists, singers, rappers, musicians, that could be interesting to talk about it and to read about all that. So Spotify usually every 2-3 months they do a fan study. They do a study about listenership, about the music business, and they send you the results of their findings, and it's usually super interesting. So today it's a study about super listeners, and so all of you who are music listeners, because it's not just for artists but even for music listeners, I believe that this could be very interesting. So super listeners, they are fans, and then they are diehard, listen on repeat, buy up all the merch fans. Meet super listeners, the new audience segment available in Spotify for artists. Discover what super listeners can do for you and how you can show them love back. All right. So the first thing they're saying is that super listeners are not just for superstars. Average across all artist size, super listeners make up 2% of an artist's monthly listener, but account for over 18% of monthly streams. Super listener indeed. Yeah, so not all the people who listen to your music are effectively people who listen to it all the time, but the 2% of people who are really your diehard fans are the people who will really listen 20% of your music, 18% of your music. So they will like make up like almost 20% of your streams, because some people might listen to one of your songs like once a week. These people listen to 3, 4, 5, 10 of your songs every day, and it's very interesting. Releasing new music can supercharge your fan base. Some of your light and moderate listeners are diehard fans in the making. After releasing new music, on average, artists saw their numbers of super listeners increase by over 20%. It's something that I've been telling artists a lot, and it's interesting because as artists, we have been the artists who are from older generation. We have been taught that you have to keep it, I would say, to not be seen a lot, that the less people see you, the more they are fans. We have been taught that if you release too much, people are gonna get tired of you, etc., etc., all these things. And then 20 years later, we're in a world where if people don't see you on social media every day, they believe you died, or they believe that your career is over. And if you don't release a song every month, they're like, why did you stop making music? Because they just used to microwave music. So for a lot of artists, it's hard to reconcile the fact that you have to release more often, and at the same time you have to be seen more often if you want your brand to survive in the sea of information. So it's really in every conversation I have with artists, it's the hardest part for them. They really believe that if they release too much music, or if they release music without a music video, etc., it's gonna destroy their career. Where actually with the algorithms, they like, if you have a YouTube channel, if you have an Instagram, you all know, because all of you are users of social media, the algorithms, when you stop posting, they stop showing you to people. And because they have new content coming every second from everybody. So the goal of the algorithm is to keep people in the platform so they can serve ads or for the people who pay for streaming services so that they can keep paying in the next month. And as an artist, as long as you understand this, it changes your whole perspective on how you do your music business. Most people believe that the platforms are here to serve them. Oh, hell no. The platforms and the algorithms are here to make the users stay on the platform by serving them content that will make them stay as long as possible so they can grow the million active users. If you believe that the platforms are here for you, the creator, you are wrong. You are here to give content to the platform, and the algorithm is serving them to the listeners. And if the connection is right, you are rewarded with more people coming to see your content, and then you make money. And it's really so different from back in the days where you had to hide to be a superstar. And then if people would not see you, then they would want to go to your concert, buy your CD, etc. It completely changed. Like, society completely changed. Yes, I said it. What up, Frankie? All right. Super listeners are super loyal too. You may see a boost in super listeners after a release, and most will stick around long after that. In fact, over 2/3 of super listeners will still be streaming your music after a 6-month stretch. Wow, that's nice. Yeah, listen, it's something I was saying to Body the other time. I was telling him, an amazing thing to have is people who listen to your songs for, like, some songs like that I released 10 years ago, for example, they still make the exact same number of streams every month. And some people, once they like one of your songs, they put it in a playlist and they will listen to it forever. And as a creator, this is what you are looking for as a creator doing business of having people listen to your music. You want these people who will listen to the songs forever. And in the contrary to algorithmic playlist, user playlist, they tend to not really remove the songs once they're in there. And they tend to not get tired of the song that much. So once you get in a user playlist, after a few years, your stream of that song will just continue to be the same. And that becomes amazing. Lil Mauro, what up? I'm sorry. Fais le remix. Super listeners make an XL number of merch purchases. When it comes to merch, our super listeners show up big. On average, 2% of your monthly listeners account. On average, that 2% of your monthly listener accounts for more than half of your merch purchases. Interesting. I don't know if I sold merch from Shopify yet, but I'm gonna do something going on t-shirts to see and link them to the song and see if it creates something. Your next super listener could be on one program stream away. Tens of millions of times a day, Spotify listeners actively stream an artist for the first time. Over 40% of those listeners heard that artist via program streaming context on or before the same day. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of people discover your music actually from the Discover playlists. So they just go to Spotify and they ask for the algorithm to play them something, which is, a completely different way to listen to music. Because back in the days, people had to actually be incentivized into going to the store. Once they would arrive to the store, that's when they would decide buy your album, and then after that it's up to them. But it was a one-time purchase, where on the streaming services they come every day, and some people, they know what they came to listen to, and some people, they don't know. They just come, they click play on the playlist. Want more super listeners? Latin America is all ears. Interesting. Super listeners span the globe, but that doesn't mean they're evenly distributed. In fact, Latin America has 4 of the top 10 markets with the highest concentration of super listeners, including the number 1 and number 2 spots. Wow. Listen, that's why reggaeton and all these genres are banging. Give me a second. I have to send something. And it's interesting how streaming services are not exactly the same from a country to another. In Latin America, people really were they go in when it comes to music. And I believe that some populations are way more musical than others. What is very interesting about Latin America is that soon as everybody had a good internet account, they just dwarfed the North American market when it comes to music streaming. Reggaeton exploded like never. Latin music just exploded like crazy because all these young people in their phones were just streaming like crazy. Where other markets that were used to CD sales were not as some markets that didn't just catch the streaming thing as the Latin Americans, where these people, they really went into it. So, I think it's an interesting study. I don't know if anybody can read it, but I'll put the link in the chat now for you guys to read if you want.